Sorry about that, guys. That was absolutely hilarious. So apparently Isaac, I think instead of hitting leave, he hit in broadcast, so it ended it for everyone. But we're back in. We'll keep going over those questions and stuff. So I'll let everyone kind of come back in, get back into the stream. But sorry, that was absolutely hilarious. We just started cracking up, and Isaac goes, "Oh no, I accidentally ended it." I was confused at first too, but anyway, so going back into it, there was a Josh Hader question basically asking, what's the deal with him? Is it a lack of confidence? They asked him about it, and Hader basically said, "Look, my mechanics are super screwed up. That's the problem right now. Like I'm throwing pitches really high in the zone. I'm just all over the place." And basically said it's a mechanical thing for him, and that he feels confident that he'll be able to get over it. So that's what I'm kind of thinking with Hader. Is it just he doesn't look good. Like he can't hit the strike zone. That's been one of the biggest aspects of his struggles. So I do think that it's going to be all right with him, but it took quite some time.
Yeah, it's probably like a release point issue. We kind of saw the same thing with Blake Snell early last season, where he was leaving everything up in the zone. It was more or less he just wasn't releasing the ball at the right time. Um, it was very he was releasing the ball very early, and that's what caused everything to soar. And I think Hader's having the same problem right now. I think he's rushing through his mechanics, and it just kind of slows it down again. He'll find his release point, and everything will go back to finding the zone. His slider will be there. I think he'll be fine, but it's going to be one of those things where it's going to take a lot of work in the bullpen, watching a lot of video to make sure everything's going all right. But I see this Myers comment. So the one thing is like Myers always loses weight and he somewhat loses power when he goes to play outfield. That's one of the things is when Myers goes to play first base, he puts on weight so that he can actually get the extra power that he needs so that he can be a proper first baseman. However, when he goes to play outfield, he loses weight so he's a little bit quicker on his feet. That and probably combined with his knee injury throughout the this whole year, I don't think we're going to see him hit very many bombs, but he's been roping out some doubles, some strong singles. As long as he ropes out doubles, I think we'll be fine. I mean, yeah, home run would be a lot better, but right now, hey man, we need people on base too. So if Myers can get some clutch doubles or just consistently hit doubles, I think that'll be completely fine too.
Yeah, because Myers looks like he has virtually like no power right now. There's like nothing. He's not really driving the baseball deep, not really flying out or even like anything like that. But he has been hitting a lot better. He's been getting on base a bunch. He's been hit over 300 for a decent amount of time now. So if he's able to do that, that's a huge plus for this team. But it's like kind of a little bit frustrating because like there's just such a lack of power. So I think it's an easy thing to kind of look at. I did want to say, Brisk has a comment here. Mel hasn't been taking enough heat for his mistakes, in my opinion. I feel like he's been taking a good amount of like of heat for making some of those mistakes, and I do think it's warranted too. I don't think like you're wrong to say that he shouldn't be that he should be taking heat. He definitely should. He's had a couple situations where he's either left starters in or he's done something weird or left a bullpen guy in, and sometimes it feels like he has a little bit too much faith in his guys. Now, if you hear it from a locker room standpoint, all the guys really, really like Bob Melvin. They respect him a lot. They think he's a good guy. They know that he trusts them and their abilities. And there's a lot of positive things to be said about Bob Melvin. But some of the decision making has been poor at times, and it has cost the Padres a couple times. I do believe that. We looked at it. What was it, Friday when Hader blew the game, and everyone was kind of like, "You probably shouldn't have pitched him after last night," and there was a lot of question marks there. And like you've seen them get burned by a few of those decisions. But I don't know. Do you think that he hasn't been getting enough heat, or where are you kind of at with the? Because I feel like I feel like people have been discussing it a lot more lately, which makes sense
I would
because
say
they've been losing.
yeah, I think the fan base definitely has talked about it a lot more, but not necessarily like reporters or anything. I feel like the reporters are very quick to look at the players instead of Bob Melvin. When Bob Melvin has made a lot of questionable mistakes, a lot of questionable bullpen calls, like putting out Hader 2 nights in a row where he couldn't hit the strike zone at all, and then you throw him out there again in the ninth inning and he blows it again. You know what? probably shouldn't have done that. I mean, you had Suarez, you have Garcia, you have a few high end arms that you got there, and you could have easily thrown them in that situation, and it would have worked out great. Did you do that though? I mean, I get having confidence in you guys to go out there and do their job. However, when their track record in the past 2-3 games before that has been crap, this guy's walked the bases loaded each time and hasn't gotten out of it, probably shouldn't do it again. Or like the first, it wasn't, not Hader's first outing, I believe it was his second outing, when he walked the bases loaded basically and then walked in another run and he still didn't take him out. It wasn't until he walked in that run that he had someone warming up in the bullpen. He should have easily, oh my God, the bases are, he just walked 2 in a row. Let me get a guy up and stretching. And then when he walks the third one, I'm going to walk out to the mound, give some guy for that time to warm up in the bullpen, give him one hitter, maybe even that one hitter, and then switch him out because you need that guy to warm up. But at that point, you don't throw him again. You don't give him 5-6 batters when he's already walked the bases loaded. Don't do that. A good manager doesn't do that, especially if you're fighting for a playoff spot. So from that aspect, I don't think he's getting enough flack.
Yeah, and I think that's super fair too. Like, cause dude, some of the stuff when like we've just seen like a pitcher come out, it's like, dude, why is he still pitching? Like, what are we doing? And then like for Hader, it's like,
Manai is a good
and a
example
lot of
of
the
that.
bullpens. Yeah, Manai is a great example of that. But also Sunday's a good example of kind of the opposite. He pitched 7 innings and only pitched 69 pitches, and they did pull him. Which maybe that was a someone in the front office saying, "Hey Bob, you got to pull these guys. All right, you got to pull them at certain parts of the game." And I feel like deep down, I feel like Bob Melvin wanted to keep him in. I think he was like, he's been struggling. Complete game. Let's get it, Sean. But you look at the bullpen. We were talking about it just before. You look at a lot of the guys in the bullpen outside of Josh Hader, and guys have been fantastic. Robert Suarez, Luis Garcia. I would say, Tim Hill. Dude, Tim Hill hasn't allowed a run since June. Do you know that? It's been insane.
And I remember Isaac mentioning that in the group chat, and I was like, wait, I can't believe that. And then I looked at it, I'm like, damn, he's right.
Yeah. So, yeah, and Briss says he did mean by reporters and not fans. Yeah, I think and also I think a lot of that, honestly, is probably just because the reporters like Bob Melvin a lot, so they're not going to rip it as much. Like, you'll see a lot of coaches and managers and stuff get ripped more when, like, it's very clear that the media does not like them. So if they like him, it's a little bit different. Morahone, another guy that has been great. But, yeah, no, I think that some of the decision-making has been questionable, to say the least. But, yeah, you want to talk about this Guardian series a little bit? Because I think it's not really much to go over just because the only guy that's scheduled to pitch right now, I think, is Mike Clevenger for the Padres. And then I'm guessing that Darvish is going to be the guy on Wednesday. Cal Quantrill's pitching Wednesday, too. Yep. Who's pitching Tuesday for the Guardians?
Savell?
Yeah, and he doesn't have great numbers. Yeah, he doesn't have great numbers.
No, but you know what that means. You
know
exactly what that means.
How do you feel about the series? Do you think we're going to see another sluggish offensive performance? Or I guess it kind of opposite of sluggish. I mean, as in slow, not as in slugging. But I don't know. What do you think? Split? Take 2? Lose 2?
I think we split, and then I think we're going to get a Quantrill revenge game. I hate to say it, but for some reason, every time we play a guy who was an ex-Padre, they absolutely kill us. You look at Josh Naylor, you look at Ty France, Emmanuel Clase, just anybody. Luis Urias, for God's sake, hits bombs off of us like there's no tomorrow. I mean, I think I remember last year, I'm like, oh, look, Luis Urias revenge game. And then he hit a home run in the 9th inning to put the Brewers up. And I'm like, that makes sense. So I'm hoping we take both of them, but I don't know. I think it depends on who pitches Wednesday. We should win tomorrow. Unless Clev has an off outing again, I think we should win tomorrow. So hopefully, we win 2, right? But I'm expecting a split. Huh?
I said, he's going to have a revenge game, right?
Oh,
Austin
who?
Hedges.
Which one
Okay.
of them? We're playing the Cleveland Padres, bro.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys in the lineup. And Framil's not there anymore, so that changed it up. But, dude, I didn't realize how great of a season Naylor's had. Naylor's been
Dude,
fantastic, dude.
that's why I was so mad to give him up. I knew he was going to be a great player. He was one
You
of the
like Naylor
guys
a
that I
lot.
did not want to give up at all.
You got
What's
Naylor,
his
you
stat
got
line?
Jose
Tell me.
Ramirez. They got some bats. They got some legit guys. Steven Kwan, he definitely, the hotness from early on in the year, it slowed down, but he's still hitting over 300. They got a lot of players. They got a good squad. We are lucky to not be going up against the best pitching. But I don't know. I think that the goal is definitely to go in and take 2, but I think taking 1 out of 2 is probably most expected because the Guardians are a legit team. They're really solid. But I would love to take 2 and then go into Kansas City with a 4-game win streak. That would be clutch. That would be super clutch because even though we've been talking about how like the Padres have not been performing and they've been very underwhelming since the trade deadline, there is no denying that. This past series, they jumped the team in the wild card, even though it was that disappointing of a series because they're currently sitting in the second wild card spot, half a game above the Phillies and then 2 games above the Brewers. And then I think the Giants were like 7 back, 6.5, 7, not that much. But it's, you got to just start winning. If you just start winning, you will make the playoffs. These other teams are not very good. The Brewers are not very good. You should be able to beat out the Brewers. If the Padres do not beat out the Brewers, that is a disaster. That is an absolute disaster. But I don't know. Yeah, I see people saying C.J. Abrams had a revenge game. Yeah, a lot of people miss Naylor. Naylor's had a sick year.
See, I would be okay if we lost 1 game just so we could see Naylor celebrate. Because I just remember watching, was it the walk-off grand slam or walk-off home run where he absolutely went ballistic and started headbutting people with his helmet. So I can actually see this happening, Anthony. So that would be a sight to see. That would be the only reason I'd want the Padres to lose 1 game, just to see him go absolutely ballistic, because his celebrations are absolutely great to see. But hopefully we win both games. We have the Royals up next after that. That should be a sweep. I mean, the Royals are one of the worst teams in baseball. So yeah, if we don't win these next 2 series, I think we hit the panic button. But until then, let's have some optimism, guys.
Yeah, I think so too. But I also do understand it. Like, I really get it. I get why people are like, "Yo, this is not how it's supposed to look." But I think that the players are feeling that too. I think that's everyone feeling that. I mean, and it's really like the problem is that it's getting to the point where it's like these guys really cannot hit with runners in scoring position. Like, this is really starting to get like scary. So they need to just have consistency at the plate. They need to be able to put up 4 runs consistently, not go 2 runs, 3 runs, 2 runs, 1 run, shutout, 15 runs. That's because that's how it's been. It's been like one blow up game every week and maybe one other decent offensive day. And then the other 4 or 5 days in the week, there's just nothing to show for. They can't keep doing that. And the big thing is too, like, we're also most of the time we're talking about making it to the playoffs in terms of that. In terms of trying to win a World Series once you get to the playoffs, they have to figure this out. And I don't think they're that close to figuring it out. Now, plenty of baseball left. They have to, it's going to take time to gel in any like whenever you trade for 3 new guys in your lineup. But it is something that has to get resolved by playoff time if you're in the playoffs, because else you're a prime candidate to get bounced early on, where you have guys, you have a talented enough team to make a run. But if you're going to be breaking a record for leaving guys on base and you're going to be performing like that in the playoffs, you're not going to win. You're definitely not going to be able to come home with a championship. So, and that's the thing, because a lot of the time I feel like early on in the year, most of the stuff that we've been talking about is, hey, this team should make the playoffs. And our expectations weren't crazy without Tatis in the lineup because there wasn't other guys in the lineup. The lineup wasn't that strong. We thought this was a weak offense. But now you just kind of let everyone know we're going all in for 3 years in a way. I don't think the Padres are just going to fall off a cliff, but they're really banking on winning one of these next 3 years with Juan Soto. So That is the big thing. There is, I like for me, like it's not just making the playoff. It's you got to make the playoff, and you have to be a legit contender. The way that they're playing right now, they are not. And I get the other teams have sucked. I don't think the Phillies. I mean, the Phillies are also getting Bryce Harper back like this week. I think he's rehabbing later this week.
No, I think he's in AAA right now.
Oh, is he playing right now? Yeah, I knew that I saw something on him today. So they're about to get Bryce Harper.
So I feel like Devin has a good point here. It's one of those things where the Phillies, they lost their guy like we did Tatis. However, Bryce Harper is not breaking headlines, testing for PEDs, and not really owning up to it. I mean, what Tatis did within the last 2 weeks has been very detrimental to the Padres, and no one can really defend Tatis in any way, shape, or form. For his fan has not helped him in any way, shape, or form, and you could tell it was a huge blow to the team and the dugout. Everybody waiting for him to come back. He was in the minor leagues doing his rehab games, this close to coming back. And I feel like the team just had the rug pulled out from under them, and they sort of just face planted. And so I think that's a really good point to make. I do like Jim's comment. We do need the SD rally chicken back. I love that little thing. I don't know why we ever got rid of it. I mean, you look at Angel Stadium, they do the I can feel it coming. And they had the little rally monkeys, and everyone's doing little sock monkeys. Bring back the chicken. I think that's a great idea. But I was going to say something else, but I can't remember anymore. Oh, Myers. Myers could come back on a small deal. I mean, realistically, you could use another first baseman / DH, and Myers would be a good outfield depth piece on top of that. He could play left field and play first and DH like he is now. He can put on some weight, rehab a bit. But when we saw Myers at his best, he was basically a DH and outfielder, or he was playing first base earlier in his career. So I think, he likes San Diego. San Diego loves him, or most of San Diego loves him. I know there's a small portion of the population in San Diego that does not like Myers because he makes too much money. But I think he'll come back on a team-friendly deal. I think it'd be important to have him back. I think Myers deserves a ring on the Padres over anyone else because he's played through some of the worst teams in baseball.
Yeah, and he also, I think it just depends on health for him too, because it's not going to cost like anything. I did see this question. I think this is a great one. Which Padres are okay with runners in scoring position, or which are not so good? So I pulled up the splits right here. There's going to be a lot of them, so you guys are going to probably have to zoom in a little bit. But here are the Padres splits with runners in scoring position. So Machado, he's clearly the best. He's hitting 305 with over 1,000 OPS. Profar actually been really good, almost a 900 OPS, hitting 270. Jake Cronenworth, almost the exact same. Trent Grisham hitting over 270 with almost an 850 OPS. Okay, Hosmer, he's not on the team anymore. Ha-Seong Kim, 288, 750 OPS. Nola's been bad, but Nola doesn't really get that many opportunities. Alfaro, over 850 OPS. Myers, 790 OPS. Josh Bell's been bad. Drury, over 1,000 OPS. Juan Soto hasn't been that good with guys in scoring position. I think that's going to change. Dude, how are they leaving so many guys on base? Dude, this is basically saying almost every guy in the lineup has good numbers with runners in scoring position. 1,000, almost 9, 2 guys almost 900, 2 guys one guy in Jake Cronenworth that gets a lot of crap. Grisham, who's the worst hitter on the team, almost has an 850 OPS, and it's not being inflated by home runs because he's almost hitting 280. Kim's been solid. Like, this is... Can you explain this, dude? I was not expecting to see this. I thought I was going to see, 600, 650, and, no one good. All of these numbers are good outside of Josh Bell and Juan Soto, and that's it. Everyone else has good numbers, too. I guess Austin Nola, too, but, he's your 9-hitter backup catcher.
It's a head scratcher for sure. I know there has been a few instances where the Padres have gotten very unlucky with some runners in scoring position. I think it was the earlier series when we played the Diamondbacks. No. Who was it? I think it was the Marlins. I think it was the Marlins series where we had runners on first and second with Kim up to bat, and Kim absolutely roped one into center field, but they had shifted on him, so it was caught right away. But I do feel like when we don't hit, we do something that's very detrimental to the team, or we make stupid decisions. Like I remember, it was either I think it was last week. Myers tried tagging up on a fly to center field, and then he gets thrown out at third for a double play to end the inning. Or, we have a guy that hits into a double play with runners in scoring position. So it's just like those things exacerbate. I think that's the right word. I may pronounce that way completely wrong, but I'm just going to skip that part. It worsens like that entire scenario because all these guys are hitting, but like one little mistake, like a ground ball into a double play to end the inning with the bases loaded, you left 3 guys on. Or, you get a somewhat deep pop fly, but the guy gets thrown out at home plate. That's a double play to end the inning, probably with runners in scoring position. I think it's just a lot of bad luck where, yeah, we have these blow-up games where everybody hits, but then we also have those games where everybody's just weak contact into double plays or really making stupid base running decisions, which the Padres need to do a lot better of. There have been some times where Drury probably shouldn't have been sent home on that play to end the game, I believe it was, or not to end the game, but he should have probably stopped at third. Realistically, Drury is not fast enough to go from first to home plate on a double, and that kind of ruins it. You can't have guys tagging up or stealing whenever they want in a situation where you're trying to come up and put people on. I think that's happened a couple times where we've had 2 outs, and the guy's like, you know what, I can second it, and then it ends the inning. It's also just somewhat base running. It's just a little bit of everything. Looking at those stats, they should not lead the league in runners left on. Jesus Christ.
It's so weird. And I see a lot of reasoning behind it. And I think a lot of you guys are saying things that right. Comes down to anxiety at the plate, like to perform to expectation. It's all mental, 100%. JDS says they're not hitting as a team. I completely agree. I think there's still a gelling process to kind of see the reasons we hit in bunches. And this is super accurate because, dude, we see that all the time. You score 15 runs, and then you score the next 3 games. You combine for 4 total runs. This is another one. Situational hitting has been bad. Great when it doesn't matter. Dude, they don't just when was it? It was in the 9th inning the other day when Bell came up. It was first and second. It was Machado and Soto on first and second. And then the next 3 guys struck out. You could have got out 2 consecutive times and someone could have scored. That's it. You got to be able to sacrifice them. You got to be able to get guys at second and third. And then you have 2 guys in scoring position, and then someone needs to hit a single. And that's 2 runs. They never do that. It's always all right, there's a guy on third with 1 out. Because we're bringing up how good the numbers are and stuff. But it's always there's a guy on third, 1 out. What is the guy at the plate going to do? He's not going to sacrifice him. He's going to strike out. He's going to come up and he's going to strike out. And that guy's going to end up getting left on third. And I think that's what we've been seeing a lot of. So I think that's the part that gets a little bit frustrating with it. Probably, decent amount of grounding and double plays. You said that as well. The base running, there have been a lot of base running errors as well. So I think that's, and averages don't necessarily tell anything 100%, but they also had high OPSs. They also had decent power numbers. They're gapping a lot of balls with guys in scoring position, but they're not. But the run production isn't there to show for it, which is very frustrating. That's probably, I like this, is Ha-Seong Kim, top MLB, and Charlie Hustle. Ha-Seong Kim is a sweet player. The catch on the wall was awesome. Ha-Seong Kim, his year 1 to year 2 numbers have been tremendous improvement. That's been something really cool to see. But I don't really have anything else. If you guys are listening and you guys joined this stream, we started another stream and we accidentally ended it in the middle of the stream. So if you're coming back and you're watching this on a replay, there's also that stream before. So we were talking about different things earlier on. But anything else you want to add, Chase, before we bounce?
Lizzie does make a good point. I was going to bring this up. When's the last time you hit someone? When's the last time you've seen someone hit a sacrifice fly?
Machado is automatic at hitting sacrifice flies, and that is the only guy.
Exactly. I do think there's a lot of pressure on the team right now, especially when there are runners in scoring position. I know we mentioned this in the last stream, which was about like 15 minutes ago, but it's one of those things where there's a lot of pressure on the team to perform, and I feel like they have to hit home runs or they have to get the big hit in order to succeed. When realistically, if you pass the bat on to the next person, you move the runner over, or you get a single that puts more people on base, or you even walk, that does more for the team than swinging for the fences every single time. I know the game has evolved into that aspect of where you have to hit the ball in the air, you have to get these home runs, you have to slug in order to succeed. I think, hitting a ground ball to the left, hitting against the shift is a great thing to do. Who was it the other day that dropped it was Cronenworth. I think they were shifting on Cronenworth, and Cronenworth did a drag bunt down the third base line. That is a perfect example of what you got to do when you're struggling like this. Do things to get yourself on base, put yourself in more areas to succeed. Like for Myers, when they shift on him, hit the ball the opposite way. It's easy as that. Myers, when he's at his best, I know Myers always talks about this just because he's been on the team for so long. When Myers is at his best, he says, I am hitting the ball into the right center field gap. That's when I'm seeing the ball the best. Right now, we're seeing him pull a little bit more. So once he starts to get a little bit more comfortable and gets more reps, I think we're going to see a better Myers. And overall, that's going to help the team a lot. But outside of that, I think we just need to appreciate Ha-Seong Kim more for what he's doing this season, because it felt like when at the beginning of the season we couldn't wait for Tatis to get back, but now we're like, we have Ha-Seong Kim. He's putting up almost a 4-WAR season right now. He's hitting the hell out of the ball, and hell, man, it is so much fun to watch that guy field.
Dude, he's turned into a sweet. He's a tremendous player. He's been really good. He could hit a 5-WAR. I don't think he will. I think he's going to be like mid-4s. But he's going to be over a 4-WAR player. Yeah, and he kind of has been on a tear lately. He's been hitting really well. His numbers have drastically improved over the course of the year. But I think that's probably going to do it. One more thing I want to say. I am extremely excited to watch Josh Bell for the rest of the season. This is a guy that we've talked a lot about, and I get that he's been slumping, but it was pretty clear that him having that off day, him kind of getting himself right, the broadcast, I forgot who was on it, was basically saying, yeah, Josh Bell was absolutely destroying the baseball in batting practice today. And then he ends up hitting a big-time home run. And you were talking about like all the pressure when guys have been at the plate. Dude, you could tell that Josh Bell felt such a relief when he hit that baseball. He looked to the dugout, he started freaking out, did a bat flip. He was so hyped. Like he was ecstatic. So he's also a really cool person. If you are interested in like hearing about kind of his backstory, there's some cool stuff that he's done. So he is one of those guys where it's like he's a tremendous human being, and he's also a big time slugger. And it's going to, I know it's early on, it's been rough, but it's going to be night and day watching him and Haas out there, because he is like so much different in terms of like he was a horrific defensive first baseman, and over the past couple of years he's turned himself into a much better player at that position, and he's already made a couple nice plays. He's had a couple errors too, but like when he gets going, it's going to be huge for this offense. So I think that's something that like getting him right to go right behind Machado and Soto can literally be the difference in making a legitimate run. Like just him. That's how good of a player he is when he is hot. His numbers have fallen off so hard since he hit San Diego. And the last 2 games, we've seen him hit consecutive home runs. So I'm pumped to hopefully see him turn it up as the season goes on. But I think that's got to be like, that's one of the biggest players in terms of like, if they're going to really make a run, he has to be that dude. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I'm excited to watch this playoff run. I know that there's a lot of pressure and stuff, but also let's look at it from this perspective. The Padres are in late August about to make a push for a playoff run where they're sitting in the second wild card spot where there's 3 wild cards. Like they're in this is a very, very fun part of the season. So I think we're going to get some great baseball down the stretch. There's going to be a lot of Dodger games, going to be a lot of Giants games, going to be a Cardinals series late in the year. Like there's a lot of exciting baseball coming up. And I think that kind of the end of the season being a little bit more talented schedule is kind of almost a put up or shut up time for the Padres to see, like, are you guys actually going to make a run? Are you going to make the playoffs? Are you going to be a team in the playoffs that doesn't do anything? Or can you get hot? Can you get going? Because if they can, I mean, you got a hot Juan Soto and a hot Manny Machado in your lineup. That's going to be dangerous. We've talked about how the staff is good. The staff has been fantastic lately too. I mean, the only guy that's really been struggling is Sean Manaea, and he's just came off his best outing since probably opening day. Granted, it was the Nationals, but I'm excited for the rest of the season. I know it's kind of a little bit. It was discouraging this weekend, but I was happy to see the W's and to actually see the team climb up in the standings as well. But they got to get going. They got to hit better. I think it's pretty clear where they're lacking. They're not producing. They're leaving guys on base. If they don't do that, and Josh Hader doesn't suck, you would feel a lot better about that right now. But guys' overall offensive numbers are still looking good. It's just they gotta be a lot better in situational hitting. But I think that's probably gonna do it for tonight's stream. So thank you guys for hopping on, and we will be going live tomorrow at 5:30 before the game as well. So we will see you guys then. But have a good night, and hopefully the Padres kind of get it going a little bit because the offense has not been there, and I want to get a little bit more excited when I'm watching this team, man. But yeah, we'll talk to you guys soon. See y'all.